Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm here to give you my October wrap up. I have only 4 books in my physical hands to show you. However, I will just make sure to put all the pictures of the books that I read here to my, I think it's to your right, to my left. And we'll just go ahead and go through the books that I read in October. Before I get into that, I did want to say I did have the opportunity to attend the Love in Vegas book convention in Vegas, and it is I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen it. You've seen my pictures and everything. You've seen the books that I got signed and everything. But I did record some content for YouTube to kind of just go through and show you what I got and just kind of give you a story time of my experience. I've already recorded it. I just haven't edited it yet. So that's why you haven't seen it yet. But you can expect that video to come out soon. And just a fair warning, I did record it literally, I think as soon as I got home. So just putting that out there. But with that, I am just going to start with my October wrap up. So in October, I started with The Dawn of the Cursed Queen. Here, I have the physical copy. This is by Amber V. Nicole, and it is the 3rd book in the Gods and Monsters series. And it continues to follow Samkiel and Diana, but in this book, you get a lot more point of views than you get in the first 2 books. And I really loved it. I love this series too. I think it's hard for me to find books that give me the same feeling as when I read Sarah J. Maas. So or Moss, however you say her last name, but ACOTAR and Throne of Glass. It's hard for me to find books that give me that same feeling. I feel like when Fourth Wing came out, it gave me that feeling as well. But this one also gives me that feeling, and it's an ongoing series. I think I found out it's supposed to be a 7-book series. So this is only the 3rd one. And then I think the 4th one comes out next year in May or something like that. So I really enjoy it. I think if you want a nice fantasy that has heavy romance plot, but still is very detailed in their, the fantasy aspect of the plot, this is a good series for you. I think you'll really enjoy it. But I don't really want to give too much more because I don't want to ruin anything. If you are reading it, I don't want to spoil nothing. But I gave this one, I don't even think I told you what stars. I gave this one 5 stars. So I really loved it. So that was what I started October off with. Okay, and so the second book that I read in October is called Faith and Fools by Jordan Barnes. I gave this one 4 stars. It follows Ethan and Steve as they go through their, forbidden romance is kind of what the trope is. And so what it is Ethan is a hockey player and Steve is the personal trainer assigned to help Ethan kind of, I don't even know what the technical term is, but basically he gets injured in hockey and he has to go to this personal trainer to kind of get his strength back and just work on his muscles and everything. And so that's what Steve is there for. He's been hired by the team to help Ethan get back in the game. And so it kind of just follows their love story. And Ethan is also roommates to Steve's best friend, who is part of this whole series. So it is the 2nd book in a series, but I gave it 4 stars. I really loved it. I think that Jordan Barnes does a really good job at really, she does a really good job of just creating the vibes of LA in California. If you've ever visited there, you kind of know what I mean. There's a certain vibe when you go to sunny California, and I think that she does a really good job at showing that through her work. And so their love was just so pure and so nice. Honestly, I loved every little bit of it. I even liked how it concluded. I thought it was so sweet. And so, 4 stars. I highly recommend, especially if you're a hockey romance girly like me. It was really nice to see that in this series because I didn't know that I would necessarily. So Bathe in Fools was the second one I read. The third book that I read was Forbidden Game by Madison Fox. This is, I'm realizing now, I have read a lot of like books that are in a series. But if you like a series, just keep going with it, is what I say. But anyway, so Forbidden Game by Madison Fox is the second book in her The System series, and it follows Parker and Sydney. So Parker is a streamer who works with the System. So the System is like 3 guys, and they all used to wear, or they're known for wearing masks during their streams. I don't really want to give too much away on the whole System side of it, because the first book, called Good Game, follows Alex, who's another man part of the game. And so if you want to read that, then I don't want to ruin anything for that book. But basically, Parker and Sydney, so Sydney is their publicist, I think is what her official title is. But basically she works with the guys to kind of make sure that they are being perceived in the public eye, nicely. Basically what a publicist or PR person does. And so that's what she is. So it's a little bit of forbidden romance as well. A little bit of workplace, a little bit of like forced proximity. But it was so cute, honestly. Like Parker is just so, I don't know, like I don't want to give away too much, but basically he falls first. And it's so cute. Like I just loved their whole story, and it was I want to say like magical. Like exactly how I would imagine a relationship like theirs to play out is how it played out. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't a 5-star only because like, I don't know, some of it was kind of frustrating because I just wanted them to just be together. And I feel like Sydney fought it for a really long time. And so that's the only reason why it's not a complete 5 stars. And I also don't know that it compares to Good Game, in my opinion. Like, I feel like I gave Good Game, I don't remember actually if I gave it 5 stars, but I feel like Good Game is higher for me. Like, I just really loved Good Game. I don't know. It was just really good. And I'm really excited to read the next one. The third one comes out in November. So I'm very excited to get to read that one. So yeah, Forbidden Game by Madison Fox, I gave it 4 stars. Next, I read, this one I have a physical copy of. So I read Lights Out by Navessa Allen. I'm not sure how you say her name, and I don't want to, I'm sorry if she ever sees this, but I read Lights Out. This one is a masked stalker romance. It follows Josh and Allie. I think it's Allie. I'm not sure if that's really how you say her name. But basically, it's a masked stalker rom-com-ish. So it has like the dark elements, obviously, with like the stalker and him being masked and like all of that. But it's super funny, honestly. Like I laughed so much during it. I did get the audiobook. I hear the audiobook is way better. And I did read both kind of interchangeably based on, like if I was driving or if I was at work, like I would listen. But then, if I was at home, I'd read. So yeah, like I kind of did a little bit of both, but I hear that listening is really nice. My mom actually listened to this book and she said she couldn't stop laughing. And so if you want to laugh, but you also want like that darker side where it's like he's masked and stalking her, like this is the perfect book for you. I gave this one 4 stars, and I do know it is the first book that is going to be in a series. So in this book, you meet Allie's cousin, and I know the second book is based off of her cousin. That one is going to be coming out in 2025, I think like May or something like that. So very excited to get to that one. The next one that I read, I have the physical copy as well. I read The Pucking Wrong Number by C.R. Jane. This book is a hockey romance. It follows Lincoln and Monroe. And I'm sorry to say, I actually gave it 2 stars. And here's why. So this book was really easy to read. It was really fast. I read it super quick. It is the first book in a series. And so I will say it's not that I thought it was bad to where I'm not going to continue the series. Like, I am going to continue the series. But I gave it 2 stars because I just felt like it wasn't, like it was just kind of like mid, I guess is the best way I could phrase it. I didn't really care for the characters like I feel like I should have. Like, I think if I cared for the characters a lot more, I would have liked it a lot more and been rooting for them a lot more. But I truly didn't really care that much. Like, some of the things he does too is just kind of crazy in my opinion. Like, I know that's what it is. Like, it's like a dark hockey romance, right? So it's like he kind of becomes obsessed with her, and I don't want to like spoil anything else, but he becomes obsessed with her. And so basically what you would expect a man obsessed to do is basically what he does. But to like the extreme. And I don't know, like, it was good as far as like being that shock factor, I guess you could say. I don't know that it's one that I care to visit again. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't regret reading it. I don't regret starting this journey of this series, but I just kind of, I don't really, I don't know. It's hard to, maybe it was just like my mood. Maybe it's because earlier this month I had just read like a super fluffy hockey romance between 2 males. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I just know that it wasn't my favorite. And I don't usually give 2 stars. I don't know if you follow me on Goodreads or anything like that, but you can kind of see I usually don't. You're probably not going to see me post about this one on my Instagram, to be honest. But I am going to continue the series, and I'm hopeful that the other boys that I have met in this one, who I think get the next books, like they're the next books. I'm really hoping that I'll super fall in love with this series, but we will see. So 2 stars for The Pucking Wrong Number. I don't even think I said it follows Lincoln and Monroe also, but yeah, I don't know. After that one, I have this physical copy too. I went on like a little binge of just reading books that I actually own. But the next one that I read was The Ritual by Chantal Tessier. I'm not sure if that's how you say her name. Sorry if I totally butchered that. But basically, and I think, is this one of the ones it is. It's one of the ones I got signed. Anyway, that's besides the point. So I read The Ritual, and I gave it 5 stars. And it follows Riot and Blake. It is the first book in the Lord series, and it is super dark. So if you want to read this one, make sure, I think all of them except for The Dawn of the Cursed Queen and Faith and Fools, definitely check trigger warnings because a lot of them are dark romances. And so you want to make sure you're checking your trigger warnings and staying safe for yourself. But anyway, this follows Riot and Blake. Basically, the Lords are, how do I explain the Lords? To me, I don't want to say what it reminds me of, but it reminds me of like the secret society that people believe exists in our real world that is represented by a triangle. That's all I'm going to say. If you know, you know. But basically, they're like a secret society of these wealthy individuals. They're like wealthy men. And so there's lords and there's ladies. Ladies are their wives. But this is a college romance. So they're in college as lords. That's where they like get initiated into the lords. And so Riot is being initiated into the lords, and it's his senior year in college, and he's, about to be basically initiated in. But then they get a chosen, and the chosen is basically, so for the first 3 years of college, they have to abstain from any kind of you know, I don't really want to say it, but you know what I mean. Like they have to abstain from their desires. And so in their senior year, they get a chosen. It's basically a woman who they choose during this ritual. And during this ritual, they have to, they say, like, I vow, you vow, we vow. And if you read it, you'll understand once you get to that part what exactly that means. But basically, it just gives them this woman to do whatever they want to them. And so Riot ends up choosing Blake, even though Blake has she starts with a boyfriend. And so when he chooses her, she has a boyfriend who is actually another lord. So that creates the tension, But yeah, I really love this story. It was super dark. I think Chantel does a really good job with pacing, but then at the very end of these books, usually she will kind of just throw everything at you, like anything that you think could go wrong basically does. And you have to in the last I don't know, maybe 100 to 200 pages, because it's a pretty chunky book. It's like 600 pages, but in the last I say probably like 200 pages, she really like throws you through the ringer. And I really love the outcome of this, and I really kind of hope, I don't know if this is like gonna happen, but I really hope she does like the next generation of lords and ladies, because that would be really cool. But I'm still in the middle of this series, so I read this one, and then right after I went into The Sinner. So I don't have that one physically, so I'll just put a picture, but it's the second book in the Lord's series, and it follows Sin and Ellie, and it is super dark. So a lot of people say, if you read the series, the first one does not prepare you for the darkness in the second one, and I 100% agree with that. I think that the first one almost seems light and fluffy compared to the second one, but I really, really, really liked the second one. I didn't like it as much as the first one, I will say. I rated it 4 stars, but I did enjoy it. I think what I didn't like about the second one is how much the girl, like Ellie, I feel like she wasn't as strong as Blake. And so I think that's why I just didn't like it as much as the first one. But overall, the story and the continuation of this story is like really good. Of course, because they're lords, Sin and Right are both lords, you kind of see them, intertwined. And I will say, I've never seen somebody say this, but both of these books pretty much take place around the same time, or at the same time. So, like Sid and Riot are both seniors at the same time. So that's really cool. But I don't really want to give too much away. I just know that it's really dark, and just know it's really, really dark. And poor Ellie, the whole time, like, I just kept, listen, she wasn't I feel like she was, some would say she's probably stronger than Blake because of what she's been through, but at times I feel like she wasn't as strong as Blake, in my opinion. Like, there were sometimes that I felt like she needed to do certain things that she wasn't doing, if that makes sense. And so it frustrated me. But given what she's gone through, every time she went, like, it seemed like throughout the book that you were continuously finding out things that happened with her, that it was like, oh my God, like, why did that happen to her? Like, the whole time I was just like, this poor girl. But yeah, so I gave that one 4 stars. Then after that one, I went into Summoned by Shea Ruby, which is a novella. It's a little Halloween novella. It's between a human and a demon. So it's male. It follows Jeremiah and Kaylin, I think is how you say his name. But it's just a cute little Halloween novella. It's like, I think maybe 200 pages at most. I don't even know. I read it on my Kindle. But I gave it 5 stars. And here's why. Because at that time when I read it, and I think it still holds true, if you want a spicy, spooky Halloween read, it's perfect because it didn't take me that long. I read it like maybe in a day, if that. And it, it gave me the creeps while also like really intriguing me. And like the spice was spicing. Okay, the spice was spicing. All I'm gonna say is there was blood play. So definitely check your trigger warnings on that one. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I think Shea Ruby does a really good job at creating intimacy while still making it super spicy in the best way, So I love her writing and I can't wait for her next book. But this one was a nice a little read to just read during the spooky Halloween season. So if you want to read something spooky and Halloweenish, especially like next year, I would definitely pick this one up. And then I finished off October. This is my last book. I finished it off with If You Hate Me by Helena Hunting. I'm going to put a picture here. It's a hockey romance, and it follows Tristan and Beatrix. Oh my gosh, I cannot say their names. But I gave it 3 stars. And here's the thing with Helena Hunting. I have loved her since I read the Puck series. Like, the Puck series is one of my favorite series, if not my favorite series. Like, it's so good. It's what got me into hockey romance, and I love it. I love it so much. And it's partly the reason I love hockey to this day. Like, after reading the Puck series, I was like, ooh, like, I want to get into this sport. And so I would watch it a little bit, but it wasn't until my hometown had their own team that I really got into it. But regardless, Puck is where it all started. And If You Hate Me is another series by her, and it's still kind of in the same universe. Like, she has little call outs to some of the Puck series, which is kind of cool, which I didn't know she was doing when I went into this book. So that was really nice to see. I only gave it 3 stars instead of like higher because the characters just annoyed me so much. So basically it's about Tristan and Beatrix, and Tristan is her brother's best friend and roommate. And so what it is Beatrix basically quits her job and has to move out of her apartment. And so she has to move in with her brother for a little while. And while she's there, her and Tristan kind of go from hating each other to something more, because they grew up together. They always hated each other. And so it's always been this thing where like they've argued with each other. But yeah, it's just the way that Tristan loves her is just, it's so nice. It's so pure and just so, like, I don't know, like, I think Helena Hunting did a really good job at showing the true thin line between hate and love in this story. And I really loved it. But, I don't know, like, I am so excited to read the next ones. If you don't want to ruin certain produce for you, maybe don't read this book. Because there are some things that happen that are a little wild. But this one's not a dark romance, so you don't necessarily need to read any trigger warnings. However, I think it's just a good habit to just check every book ever, because you never know when something creep up. It could be the fluffiest book ever, but there could be a dark topic that could pop up. I'm not recalling any off the top of my head, but if you've followed me for a little while, you might realize I have no triggers, really. Like, I haven't found one that has actually triggered me in a long time. Like it doesn't really bother me. But yeah, so 3 stars to that one, and that gets me to 9 books for October. In November, I will say we're like a week into November now, and I am reading a lot of arcs, so you'll probably see a lot of brand new books that I have reviews for November, so that'll be exciting. For going forward in this channel, I got this, it's a TBR jar, and it has like all the little papers in it for my books. I was gifted this from somebody on Instagram, and so I had this idea, And I want to see what you guys think. And you definitely let me know in the comments, like, what you think of this idea. But I've been thinking I want to write all of my, first I want to start with my special editions. And I want to write all of their names on these papers and put them in this jar. And I'm thinking in 2025, I want to start a series where I read 1 or 2 a month and film my reactions as I'm reading these fantasy books from my special editions, because that's what they mostly are, is fantasy. And I want to just post my reactions here on YouTube. So let me know what you think of that idea. I think it's a really fun idea, but we will see. But yeah, so I got 9 books total, but I only have 4 physical. So 4 physical books for October, and then 9 books total though. So yay. If you like my content, if you like my video, please make sure to leave a like and a comment, and subscribe also, so you can make sure you're notified whenever I post. Since I'm so inconsistent, I'm sorry. But yeah, until next time, thank you for watching. Bye.